Welcome to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King, and we're back again to bring you all the sports and current events news stories you need to know. Happy summer, folks. We are filming in July. Cape Cod Kid is taking in all of this heat, all of this humidity, and just loving it. As I learned from the great, outstanding, wonderful series Game of Thrones, winter is always coming. And so when we have this opportunity, particularly here in Tourist Town, to appreciate the warmer seasons, I'm going to do it, we're going to do it, and hopefully it's summer where you are out there in YouTube land, or at least warm and temperate, so let's enjoy that. Now, straight to business. LeBron James decided to have some fun with his kids, and it has set the world on fire. Obviously, the story is LeBron James participating in warm-ups with his son, Bronny Jr., and also Bryce at a grassroots tournament last week, and the battle lines have been drawn. Folks are lining up on one side of the aisle. LeBron James is an attention junkie. It's all about him all the time. He can't get out of his own way. He's addicted to fame as people become addicted to certain substances. That is one battle line, one camp that is apparently entrenched. And on the other side, it's LeBron James is a caring father. He's someone that is involved in his children's life. He does these type of things to bring joy and enthusiasm and positive energy to local events, and he should not be in any way, shape, or form criticized or maligned for sharing these type of experiences with his children. That is another battle line. Go ahead and comment, should you feel in terms of, where you fall on this issue. But I myself am firmly on the side of LeBron James participating in warm-up lines and being enthusiastic with his kids, as they pursue their sports dreams, is an outstanding thing, is a wonderful thing, is a magnificent thing. Enough adjectives. No, this is something where, for me, we get a chance to see, who understands basketball. This is, the game that I grew up with. This is the sport, that I know the best. Had this been, a different athlete, a different game, I wouldn't feel so adamant about it. But, being, a ball player my entire life, this being something that has had a major influence on, who I am, I believe I can, look at this and get to the nitty-gritty. Look, if you are at a grassroots event, if you're at the playground, if you're just at a humble practice and an NBA star shows up, or somebody who has college, Division I level experience shows up, that's a big deal. That's something that enlivens that event. That's something that people gravitate to, especially if that individual who has had success is approachable, is charismatic, has a mind to give back to the community from which they came. If you combine those factors, you got a great thing going on. Now, that said, LeBron James is not just an NBA All-Star. He's not just a highly decorated basketball player. LeBron James is one of the top 5 human beings in the historical record to have played the game of basketball. We need to make these distinctions, people. Had it just been, as I said before, a parent whose child was coming up through the ranks, we see this all the time. Michael Conley Jr. is going to be a very good player for the Utah Jazz this year. Vlad Guerrero Jr., very good player for the Toronto Blue Jays right now. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, okay? Their father, whose first name eludes me at this point in time, highly decorated quarterback in his day. This happens all the time when, very successful athletes, their children go on to also have success in the same sport. But again, LeBron James is not just a very successful basketball player. He's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. That's why this situation is night and day different than many other situations, and in particular, the situation or the counter-argument from the other camp that, well, had it just been some dad and he was in warm-up lines with his kid and he happened to be able to jump 2 feet over the rim, well, then for some people, that would have been a problem. Whoever these people are, they might be friends of mine, they might not be, but I vehemently disagree with them. Had it been just a parent participating in warm-up lines, and let's say for the sake of argument, that parent couldn't touch the net, but their enthusiasm for the game, their enthusiasm for the process, their child working hard, striving, committing themselves to the team and to the game, these attributes that they will most certainly need in the real world, I would have zero problem with that and have it hard to, and again, if you want to be suspicious, if you want to be skeptical, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with playing devil's advocates. There's nothing wrong with testing and proving every scenario and situation. That's fine. But at the same time, as it's been said, everyone has a right to their own opinions. Everyone does not have a right to their own facts. If a parent had a positive, uplifting, encouraging attitude about their child's sport, about coaching their kid's team, again, about being a part of this process that young athletes go through in order to distinguish themselves in a particular sport, go ahead and check out At All Costs, Netflix documentary. Director's name escapes my mind at this point in time, but he did an outstanding job with that piece. And get an understanding of what it takes, to reach, never mind the professional levels, just to get a college scholarship. Difficult process, grueling at times. And, those individuals, those coaches, those players, those teams that embark on this journey with, again, a positive spirit, they're more likely to be successful, and it makes the journey that much better, B. That is the bedrock. That is the foundation. That is the core of LeBron James' contribution this last weekend. Okay? It's about the joy, the love, the passion that ball players have for the sport, the game. That's what we're talking about. I know journalists, news organizations, we need content. We need storylines. We need narratives. Understood. Educating the public, hopefully in terms of, the media, billions and billions of dollars at stake. Wonderful. Fine. But there's a difference between a reputable, substantive, and quality narrative and opinion-based, which is fine. Nothing wrong with being opinion-based, but, publications or content that lacks all of those necessary attributes. And that's my feeling, about, the opposite camp in this story. I just don't feel they have legs to stand on. I don't feel they have very solid ground underneath them. If you're going to take the approach that LeBron James consciously, with quote-unquote malice of forethought, participated in his son's warm-ups and, chest bumps, his son's friend after a highlight play in order to generate more revenue for LeBron James. If that's your argument, that this is somehow, I don't know. The man is already well on his way to being a billionaire. Are you saying that he needs, it's important for, his financial well-being? It's important, for him to achieve some lofty financial goal that he otherwise wouldn't have achieved. Participating in grassroots 8th grade warm-up lines is the only way that he can make that happen. I just don't see it. If it was my dad or your dad or any other dad, and they did the same thing, it would be, offensive, a crying shame, outrageous. Now again, basketball roots that I'm fortunate to have, able to participate in the game in a number of capacities, as a coach, as a player, and also as a referee. I spend quite a bit of time at these type of events, referee hundreds of youth games a year, and I'm proud and thankful to be able to do that. Again, if somebody is bringing good energy, uplifting energy to these venues, to these gatherings, the more the better. Irregardless of whether you're all-time great or Joe Schmo. So even in that situation, I still adamantly believe those type of contributions are warranted and helpful to the game. That needs to be said. Here in the Commonwealth, in Titletown, city of Boston, there is a parallel. We do have a correlation to this story. Bill Russell, who many people consider top 5, if not top 10 all time, of course, won 11 championships for the Boston Celtics, was the first African-American coach of a major American sports team. Excuse me, for years, Bill Russell would not sign autographs. Wouldn't do it. Didn't believe in it. And I believe his rationale was, sure, I am highly decorated, exceedingly successful within the sport of basketball in the realm of athletics. But at the same time, I'm a hardworking human being, just like everybody else. Old adage, put my pants on one leg at a time. You know, that was the blue-collar attitude and spirit that he had. And with that frame of reference, with that mindset, he didn't understand or want to understand why his signature was any different than anybody else's signature. Now, of course, with sports being, what it is, billions and billions of dollars annually, these artifacts, this memorabilia that's directly associated with great athletes is considerably valuable. So that's just a fact. But, Bill Russell's perspective on the matter was such. And so for the majority of his career, he would not sign autographs. And how did people take that? How did they carry that? Most folks were up in arms. Again, being from the Commonwealth, happen to know a few people that have run across Bill Russell and asked for his autographs and been rejected. Just like they were shooting a weak layup in the 60s through the lane, okay? And Mr. Russell was there protecting the basket. We know how that went. It was offensive in some ways to people that he would not sign these autographs. Now, that they didn't take the time in many instances to recognize his position. And he did have a valid point. But again, back to LeBron James. If LeBron James wasn't as approachable, if he was aloof, if he was distant, if he didn't inject enthusiasm and charisma and positivity into these type of gatherings, these youth gatherings, or just in general for his brand. We'll stick with the youth setting for now. But obviously, big picture, all of those attributes for celebrities and stars generate quite a bit of profits. But again, back to the day-to-day and the interpersonal, if LeBron James decided to take that approach, as many athletes do and have the right to, I'm sure just as many people would be up in arms, outraged, infuriated by that. Again, long story not so long, I believe LeBron James has it right. I believe he takes the right angle, has the right approach in terms of how he operates within the context of his children's journey to success, their maturation into adults on the basketball court, in terms of supporting them and their teammates and the events that they participate in, with his presence and enthusiasm and all the adjectives I keep stating over and over and over again that are encouraging and cool. And then in his own personal life, blasted it out today that it is Tuesday, which in the James household and many other households means Taco Tuesday. And I couldn't help but notice that in 2 minutes, I already had 5,000 likes. 2,500 likes per minute for letting everybody know that it's Taco Tuesday. I don't have a problem with that. If I had a couple extra dollars, I'd be over at San Diego's or El Mariachi or wherever getting my Taco Tuesday on. You know, usually I do the tiki port. That's what I do. You know, I support people at tiki port. You know, but if we had a Taco Tuesday here on the Cape, your boy would be all in for Taco Tuesday. All right? You know, and that type of fun, you know, those type of fun antics, it's just great. You know, and I don't see a downside. I don't believe in a conspiracy, you know, in relation to sharing, you know, these slice of life moments joyously. Again, whether it be Taco Tuesday or whether it be grassroots basketball events during the summer. Okay, moving on a bit. Folks, the baseball season past the halfway point. Red Sox playing better. Took 3 games out of 4 against the Yankees. And, you know, across the major leagues, I just think a lot of these races are quite close. You know, a lot of these divisional races, whether it be AL East, NL West, you don't necessarily have a clear-cut favorite in terms of baseball, which means, you know, all of the top-flight teams who were successful last year, obviously the Red Sox took it home, are in the conversation. You know, and it's going to be one of these things whereas, you know, we're going to go into September and October with great divisional and wild card races and a playoffs that is wide open. Baseball has taken some heat recently. People talking about the games are too long and, you know, it's not marketable, so on and forth. My interjection there, again, being a basketball guy, not having a background in the game of baseball, but as someone who loves sports and is fortunate to live on Cape Cod, I take in as many Cape League games as I can. It's wonderful. It is an outstanding time. Over 300 players, Cape League alumni in Major League Baseball, and alumni that you would know. You know, the Aaron Boones, excuse me, again. Aaron Judge, sorry about that, folks. You know, and the Jackie Bradleys and the Mookie Betts and the Chris Sales of the world, Cape League. You know, so, you know, if I lived in a major metropolitan area that had a ball club, baseball team, and, you know, we can get some affordable tickets, I would be there consistently in the summer as much as I could be. Are good things. Let's see, what do we have in conclusion on the sports? Here's what we have in conclusion. I'm excited. I'm excited about Quentin Tarantino's new film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it's going to be gold. Tarantino, you know, comes out with a movie every so often, and I'm a huge fan. You know, from the start, we talk about Reservoir Dogs. And, you know, we talk about No. Let me start that again. We talk about Reservoir Dogs. Then we go to Pulp Fiction. Then we go to Jackie Brown. Didn't have too much time for the Kill Bill stuff. Sorry, no go there. Django was outstanding. Also, Inglourious Bastards. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, looking forward to it very much so. Also, a lot of these good Marvel films that are out. My Marvel and DC people are telling me a lot of those good films that are out there doing wonderful things. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's what the Cape Cod Kid is recommending most enthusiastically to conclude the show. folks, that's going to do it. Go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe as you feel the need. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in to SandCity Sports, and we will see you here again the next time.
Yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to retake ourselves. So yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to embrace ourselves. Yeah.